Well, hello there, everybody. How are you? Welcome to SkyTour LiveStream on this wonderful 19th of August, 2021. So good to see you guys out here with us already. We're going to have a wonderful night, I hope, out in the desert. It's a beautiful, clear sky, and we're trying to make the best of it right now. We do have a waxing gibbous moon, so it's pretty bright out there, but this nebula that I got right here, this is actually called the Bug Nebula, and this is the planetary nebula right here, the Bug. It's actually a really cool nebula, and it's you can see that it's ejected stuff along this axis, but not as much along the upper axis. The brighter stuff is actually right on the east and west sides of it, basically. So the Bug Nebula is pretty cool, and it's a really neat planetary nebula, which is the remnant of a dying star, a dead star. So that said, we actually have it here. Daryl, of course, is with us. Daryl, how are you?
Hello, Mark. How are you? Did you get a haircut?
I got them all cut, but yes, indeed, I did.
Ah. Did they dye it purple too?
No, the purple is the light in here. It's a purple light. I can change the color if you like.
No, that's fine.
All right.
I'm sorry, I knew that. I'm just teasing.
That's okay. Hi guys, how are you doing? It's nice to see you out here. Let's say hello to PG. PG, we're the first one here tonight. Congratulations. And how are you? And we have also Daryl, who's here. Isabella, hey, good morning to you out there in Sofia, Bulgaria. How are you? This is the Bug Nebula right here. We're looking at Sofia. And then we have Laura Newbert is here. Hi, Laura. How are you? It's really nice to see you. So we're cranking away here, and it's a moonlit sky out in the desert, but we're making the best of it. Everything is good, you know. And by the way, guys, if you haven't seen our show on Discovery Plus called Alien Invasion Hudson Valley, please do watch it. Check it out. If you have Discovery Plus, just go on in and look for it. It really came out pretty well. I'm actually very happy with how it came out. Ben Hansen, Melissa Tittle, and myself were three intrepid investigators that actually did real science to try and discover some things about the UFO phenomena in the Hudson Valley. And Hudson Valley is rumored to actually be like the UFO capital of the world, and for good reason. Yeah, you look at the sheer number of sightings there; it's absolutely incredible. Now I go at it from my typical skeptical point of view, and I came away from this production actually pretty impressed with how it turned out, because we ended up finding that a number of things happened that I just couldn't understand, you know. So
you know what you should do sometime?
what's that?
Have you ever been to the San Luis Valley here in Colorado?
I have not, but isn't that a location that's also a hot spot?
Oh yeah, that's why I bring it up. Go to the Great Sand Dunes. It's a national park now. It used to be a monument.
Okay.
And just north of the sand dunes is a strange little town called Crestone. I mean, any kind of mysticism and paranormal and UFOs and anything you want, they got it there.
Wow.
Ziggurats and every religion in the world, and there's a huge badass mountain just south of the sand dunes called Mount Blanca.
Okay.
It's a big old 14er mountain, great big tall mountain, and the Navajo considered Mount Blanca to be one of the four corners of the earth.
Okay.
And there's a lot of stuff going on up there too.
Wow.
I heard that's where Linda Moulton Howe actually got her start. She was working as a TV reporter, I think, in Denver, one of the TV stations or someplace, and she went up and did a report on cattle mutilations in the San Luis Valley back in the 70s.
Yep. That actually, to this day, that's actually perplexing, even though we know that bacteria eat soft tissue and are very effective at making cellular division. But you know what? Some of the things that happen to these cows just seem to defy normal explanation. So we'll see, you know.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's a UFO watchtower there, and
that I've seen. I haven't been there, but I've seen it. And you go walk up the steps and look out over the valley and see what you can see. Yeah.
There used to be black helicopters and all sorts of stuff up there.
Yep.
Pretty crazy.
I actually know someone who was taken on a black helicopter against her will. Yeah, and she's from Colorado. Yep. This is the Bug Nebula, by the way. This is the actual size of it in the sky. This is our field. It's over 2 degrees across, and it's 1.5 degrees tall. And so we're using a dedicated astronomy camera. And I stacked 77 images before I started the stream tonight. I want to say hello to Randy Harris up in Pine Top in Arizona. How's it going, Randy? I know that Marianne was banished with Diane, okay, who is your lovely wife. And you guys, Marianne, of course, Marianne Robb, she was banished to where the girls up there are having a meeting of them, an AA meeting is what Randy's claiming. But it's not, AA doesn't stand for Alcoholics Anonymous up there. It was something else that Marianne said. What was it, Marianne? And she'll let me know. She'll put it in there. And folks, you understand, right? Marianne is actually one of the driving forces behind SkyTour LiveStream West. She's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, proponent for it. And she has been very generous with her time in getting this off the ground. And I think that's pretty cool. She's very, very kind to us, And Laura Newbert, I've talked to Avi about the Galileo project. Avi and I did a couple of TV specials together. And we did one on ABC, actually, and then we did some podcasts together, And so I'll be seeing him and talking to him next month as well. I'll talk to him about the Galileo project and see what we can, how we can fit in if we can. But he's really a good guy. He's one of the good ones, But thanks for that question. That's a good question. Oh, attitude adjustment. That's what it was, Randy. AA stands for attitude adjustment. And that's precisely why you weren't there, because you don't need an attitude adjustment. But everyone in that room did. I talked to them all a little earlier. That's what you guys are missing. Anyway, I have the telescope hooked up now in a way that allows us to actually solve for the actual field we're on. If we don't know where we are, I can actually tell the telescope to tell me where we are. So what I'm going to do here is I saved this stack out, I believe. Let me do it anyway. I will save the stack. You'll see the green thing. It's a FITS file. It's 77 frames that have been saved. So there's a lot of data hidden in there. And then I'll save the file just as we see it here, so we can actually have that too. And now it says it's done that. So now I can get rid of this, and we're going to stop the stack. And you'll see this go back to black for a moment, and then it will take a new exposure. And there we go. This is the 10-second exposure it's taking, but I'm gonna set it back to 1 second exposures. All right, because 1 second gives us the ability to move around and see things, and it'll get pretty dark here in a sec. So that's what a 1 second exposure looks like here at this point in the sky. All right, and we're actually pretty low. If you look where the telescope is right now, it's looking down pretty low. In fact, the edge of the building might actually be affecting it right now. All right, so if we go look here in the planetarium, all right, we can come back out a little bit, scroll out a little, and you can see where the scope is. The scope is actually pointing right at this object right here. Okay, this is the Bug Nebula that we're looking at. And now, actually, we can actually just go up just a little bit and over just a little bit and go to the Cat's Paw Nebula. And I think that'd be kind of fun to do. So we're going to do that. So we're going to, first I have to get our visual screen back. going around here, there's a telescope control over here. Here's the telescope. That's me. Hello. And over here on the right, this is the actual peek into the telescope and what it's doing, where it is right now, and it's just our handset control. This is our main screen here, and we did a plate solve, and it succeeded in knowing where we were based on just these little stars. It recognizes star patterns now. That's the new technology we've added, and it's actually really cool. It's called plate solving. It's very, very helpful for what we do. So that's the main screen for the camera, and then this is our planetarium that's tied to the computer and to the telescope. So we can just say, hey, we're going to go here, and it will go there. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to just, because it's so close, I'm not going to have it automatically go find something when it can actually just find it directly.
Could you go back to Stellarium for just a second?
I'm in Stellarium.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at the YouTube stream. I was just going to say, there's Shala and Lasath right there.
That's right.
And boy, you are close to them, aren't you? Those are the those two stars make the stinger and the scorpion's tail,
That's
folks.
Right. That's right. And when we look down here at this location, okay, we're actually only 18 degrees above the horizon. Well, actually, where we were at the Bug Nebula, the bug's just below our field of view, and it really is in this too as well. When we come back, you can see that it's down here below center, and of course that is exactly where the telescope field of view is, because when we actually look at the telescope field of view, it's about like this big. I'm not going to put it up now, but so the bug is down below, and so it comes down a little bit, and it's a big square. All right, so we're going to actually drive it up to here, and you're going to actually see that nebula up here in the screen here as we do that. The skies are so bright out there, so in other words, with the stars, so dark that the stars are very, very bright, and it's really, really impressive. All right.
I went out a couple of minutes after sunset tonight.
Yeah.
And well, to look at the moon and look at Venus, which is really big and bright in the west, a little bit south of west now at sunset, and Antares and Scorpius is already west of the meridian at sunset now.
Yeah, it's quite a ways
so
over, isn't it?
It's getting over there in the west, and
sure
summer's
is.
going away, people.
It is. Don't remind them, Daryl.
Yeah.
Don't remind them of that. They don't want to know that. Okay.
It happens.
Oh, come on. Don't even tell me. What's this here? Get out. There was no clouds. There were no clouds whatsoever in the sky. How come I have clouds? Okay. I'm going to go find out what the heck's going on here. All right. I am looking at the sky, and there are literally no clouds to be seen. Oh, wait. There is a small little patch that's coming through. Yeah. Okay. Well, I have another thing I can do too while we're waiting. That just angers me because there was no clouds whatsoever, you know. Hi there, Taryn Marie. How are you? Welcome. And Tara D. Hey, Tara. Tara Diulis is the artist who did the door of the observatory. She's phenomenal. And she's been sharing with me some of the cool artwork she's been doing lately. And it's really quite nice. Really, really beautiful stuff.
What media does Tara like to work in?
Oh my gosh. What media doesn't she work in? For the door of the observatory, she worked in bottle caps with their natural colors. And she built an Orion Nebula for the door and even the STLS logo. Incredible, you know? All right, I am going to just go up to here, and I'm going to activate the all-sky camera. And I did this before, and there was nothing there. I think this will be... I'm just doing one acquisition, so it's going to be like a 20-second shot, I believe. And we're going to see what we've got. I can't believe it. It's such a beautiful night. Where'd these clouds come from? Halfway there.
Don't mess with Mother Nature.
I know. Yeah, tell you. All right, let's see what we got. Okay, so we have some clouds that you can see. And we're looking down in the south. We're looking at this right now. Where this is coming from, I have no idea. Hey there, Fantasy XST, how are you? Nice to see you. And this here, over here, okay, this area here, okay, that is what's coming toward us. Okay, because the north is up here. That's east. Actually, that's this is okay. Blah. All right. So this direction here, this is toward Phoenix here. This is the east side. Okay. All right. And we have the west is down here, and the clouds are going from southwest to northeast. So it's kind of strange. It's very bad. Vegas directly overhead. Look at that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's Cygnus right there. It's, wait a minute, that looks like... Okay. Yeah, I should do another shot, just to, literally, these are clouds out of nowhere. You know what's happening? These are developing after sunset, so that's why they're not visible to me. I just can't, you gotta take a chance. But yeah, we have monsoon season out there right now, and as the monsoon season abates, then clouds are a thing of the past. Yeah, see. So we probably have a chunk here. They're gonna disappear, but hey, we'll just look at stuff as we can, right? That's all it's about. So let's go. Let's keep on going. Keep on trucking. So we're going to have some clouds that we're going to see here in just a sec. Yeah, we'll get rid of those. Yeah. Not nice. Go away, clouds. All right. Well, hey, you can watch clouds go by. And every now and then you see stars. Okay, so let's try something different. Let's, now that we know that we have clouds down here in the south, let's actually take a chance and check something out that might be easier to see. By the way, coming up in the sky, not too long from now, we'll be able to see the Andromeda Galaxy and Messier 33, the Triangulum Galaxy. But that's like hours from now, and as what I'm getting by that is by saying coming up, meaning as the season progresses. So let's go up higher. Let's actually all right, 45 degrees. I think we're clear up there. I want to actually see. I want to get to something else that's up here, maybe. Oh, you know what? I think the wild duck cluster is clear right now. I think we're clear there. So, if you watch the telescope in here, you'll see the telescope moving. And because we're going to go to the wild duck cluster. Hopefully we can find it. Here we go. So you'll see the telescope going up. There it goes. Okay. Yeah, we got clouds. Trying to find a star. I can't find it. Oh, okay. May find a star.
Is your high precision pointing?
It is. It's
involved?
On. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Oh, look at this. Right there. Interesting. Okay. So it found it, and I see that we actually have I see that we have some clouds here. I see what the problem is. Let me get this back to where it belongs so I can actually see what we're looking at. There we go. No wonder we're not doing it right. Okay. It's kind of interesting to see the stars behind the clouds, you know, as we're moving through. Okay, let me just set the rate here. Okay, that's 3 degrees per second. And I think we want to go this way.
Damn, are the clouds moving that fast?
Apparently so. Yeah, it's
Holy cow.
There it is, right in the middle. Okay. Now, the thing about this is that we're going to take a... see, the moonlight is lighting these clouds up, which really stinks.
Right.
So, let me go back to our all sky and see just how bad it's become. Because I don't want to be playing with these clouds that's like this, you know. It's like, grrr. You know, it makes me kind of really... And the other thing too, folks, is that we don't have Starlink out there yet, so there's a 1 second delay on everything I do. And it makes me crazy. Hi there, Via Lucia Campos. How are you from Brazil? Alright, so let's do this now. Alright, one acquisition. Okay. Oh, look at these. Come on. Where'd these all come from? Look what we got. Where did this come from? Ah. Well, you know what can I say? I don't know why it happens. I just don't know why it happens. No idea where that came from. That's just like out of nowhere. Well, for the record, let me just see if I can get a photo to kind of show you this object that we're looking at right here. I'll make this a 5-second exposure. Okay. Well, that's going to have a streak of white in it with the clouds here. Yeah. Looks like the auroras. That's actually what auroras look like, which is really interesting. Look at that. This is Measure 11. It is a beautiful open cluster in the galaxy. It's actually in a star cloud, and you can see the many stars around it, and a satellite right there. There's a satellite going through it. Look at that. That's very cool. Hey there, Martian Johansson. How are you? The monsoon strikes again. Well, luckily there's no precipitation in it. It's just the monsoon. But you can even see the faint stars through the clouds here, along with the satellite. This is Measure 11, which is this beautiful open cluster. It sits in front of the massive star cloud that's behind it, and the star cloud is right here. If it was cloudless, we could find a we could actually find our way to many different objects, which is what I was planning on doing. You know,
everybody think positive and make the clouds go away.
Mm-hmm. Heck yeah, make them clouds go away. Well, let's just come back here for a second. And let's do one more acquisition. That's the other one, actually. This is the latest one here. And we're going to see what that looks like in just a second. Ay, ay, ay. We went from utterly, totally clear sky to clouded up in just a few seconds, just a few minutes. It's crazy. Wow. And the moon is right there. Arr. Yeah, well.
Wow.
I know. Wow, indeed. You know, I get into it and I'm ready. I'm all set to go. Wow, let's go. You know, and we end up with this.
Oh, shouldn't we talk about the weather?
Yeah, I know. Well, you know what, though? That's okay. I have to do a publicity tour tomorrow from 9 in the morning to noon. And as it is, if you know, it's after midnight here for me in the East Coast, so I'd probably end up having to be tired for the first section, you know, these things, first number. And I don't want to be, but that's okay. I was willing to be because I thought you guys would enjoy this. Let me. I accidentally shut this whole thing down by accident. What I'll do is, if I do close down, I'll show you the whole close down process. I didn't show you last time. So we'll do that if we need to. Let's do a 5-second shot again.
Bummer.
Oh, I know. I gotta go to at least get to Ross. Oh, now we have solid clouds.
Maybe we should have made a sacrifice before we started the show.
Well, who are we gonna sacrifice?
I don't know.
And then how many times how many people do you sacrifice, right? Do they demand more later?
Start with one.
Yeah.
I called the high priest the other night. I said, "High priest, what time's the sacrifice?" High priest said, "What time can you be here?"
Sorry, I didn't mean to ruin your joke. I just thought of that on the fly, and I guess that was the right thing. Alright, so let's do this. It's actually kind of eerie, you know, seeing those clouds and seeing Measure 11. It's just like you get glimpses of it. It's kind of amazing. You're watching your atmosphere kind of go traveling across the screen, and the stars are just billions upon billions of times further in distance away. And there they are. They're just out there immutable. They don't change. You know, it's just the atmosphere prevents us from seeing them sometimes. It's actually kind of a pretty thing to watch. You know, I'm not trying to, you know, minimize the crap hand I think we got dealt tonight, but it is kind of pretty to watch this, you know.
Maybe it's all my fault.
Okay, I'll go with that.
Hey, skies were clear before you called me.
Oh, that's true, isn't it? Oh,
yeah.
Sure. Thanks
maybe
a lot.
Maybe it's Skype's fault.
No, I don't think so.
Let's blame Bill Gates for it then.
Okay, instead of Bill Skywatcher?
Huh?
Instead of Bill Skywatcher?
No, Bill Gates.
Yeah, no, instead of Bill Skywatcher. We'll blame Bill Gates instead of Bill Skywatcher.
Okay.
That's where I was going with that. Never mind.
Yeah, Bill Gates on Skype, you know.
Yeah.
Or you can go ahead and blame me if you want.
Nah. Why would I blame you? You have done absolutely nothing wrong.
For all you know.
Oh, really? What aren't you telling us?
Nothing.
Look at that, though. As soon as the clouds pass, you actually can see the depth of the additional stars. And every now and then the moon reflects off some of these clouds really brightly.
I didn't do it. Nobody saw me do it. You can't prove a thing.
Okay, Bart.
Yeah.
Nobody saw me do it. Can't prove a thing.
Okay. Hello there, Daisy and Zoe. We were, expecting a really good night. It was totally clear when I started, and it seems like within minutes clouds appeared, and then I know what's going on. Say that the cooling that occurs at night enforces the buildup of the clouds. But I have noticed that every single early morning, it's perfectly clear out there when there's not a front nearby. So I'm wondering if instead I don't do a nighttime stream, like at midnight our time here in East Coast, but actually do the stream at around 3 a.m. When it'll be 3 a.m. out in Arizona. That's 6 a.m. my time. I wonder how that'll work and how many people could actually attend at that point. Probably not many, because they'll be going to work or what have you, unless it's a certain particular Friday night, Saturday night kind of a thing. Yeah. It's actually really pretty. I'm kind of mesmerized by this. And I gotta tell you, by the way, if we won't see them from this Arizona location, but if you were to see the auroras in the telescope, this is kind of how they'd look. Actually, it would just be they'd be green. In general, they'd be green, like a greenish hue. Hey, I can actually go monkey with the colors and make them look green. Then you can say you saw an aurora. Nah. This is just amazing. It's like we're looking at the gaps between the clouds. Like there's a beautiful gap. Look at that. Hey. By the way, every one of these still images you're seeing are actually getting saved up to the cloud. So you could go and check them out if you wanted to. I put the link up to the cloud in the last stream. Actually, I think it was that you, Martian, that put it up? Somebody put up the link very kindly for folks, because all the images now, along with all the stacked images, they just get sent up to the cloud as soon as they're done. So we did the Bug Nebula earlier, and the Bug Nebula is it's all up there. The stack is up there for you to play with if you want, as well as the individual process shot that we saw in here at the very beginning. Yeah. Hey, Mr. Spiritus, how are you? Yeah. Yeah. I don't like politicians, so let's blame them for the skies being cloudy, right? After all, they cloud our knowledge with all their ill facts, so let's do that, right? Cypher 2, how's it going? Cypher 2 says he likes it too. It is kind of neat looking, look at that. It's almost like every single frame is an abstract painting. So it's almost, kind of cool in a sense. Let's
sure are booking.
Let's maximize it and see what it looks even better. Well, it's 5 seconds, so if you want to see them looking smaller or get a better idea what they look like, it won't be as bright I could kind of offset that. Let's make this a 2-second shot. All right. Oh, that's nice. 2-second shot. And I'll increase the gain a little bit.
I'm looking on Wendy.com, and they're building up right over you.
I was trying to see if they were, and I didn't see them. Were you looking in blue light or visible?
Visible.
Infrared, maybe?
Visible.
Yeah, I guess I see that. Yeah.
I can see it infrared too.
Can?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. They're very, very light. But, you know, I just like, you know? And by the way, the size of this screen here is not set by that right over there. That's size of this screen. This is actually the size of the camera sensor at an auto size. But we can actually, if I was to make this go up to say like, say 33%, okay, it gets a little bigger, okay, because we're on our way to 100%, which is huge. All right, so I'll show you. If we go to 100%, like the actual size of the frame as on the screen, if you had 100%, then this is what it would look like. Okay. By the way, I'm going out on the 7th of September, and I will be doing the proper collimation to get these star images to be absolute pinpoints. Because right now, our Hubble Space Telescope out there in the desert has a vision problem, and I have to correct it, and I can. Hi there, Lee Klingler. How are you? I'm deaf. I don't hear sounds like you do. Is there any sounds in space from your technology you have on? It's actually a very good question. No. If we were to generate sounds, I'll give you an example. Of course, if you're deaf, I don't know how you hear me. I can't answer this without typing. So let me do that, actually. Or should I type? I'd like to answer a question. Hey Bonnie, Anahata 77. When Lee answers me, I will either type or I will talk to her if she has a way of hearing me. We got something for everybody, you know.
Well, I just found out. Looks like closed captioning works. Maybe that's how she's listening to you.
Maybe so.
Sort of.
Okay, okay, you are using closed captioning. Very good. Tell me if this makes sense. When you have sound that comes to your ears, you're listening to compressed air waves that go into the ear and affect the eardrum. And we don't have any air in space, so sound doesn't travel in space. But sometimes we get light frequencies that get brighter and dimmer, and those can be converted to sounds. And that conversion to sound will give us an idea of how things actually act in nature. For instance, fast radio bursts are interesting because they are beams of light that reach us that last only milliseconds. And when converted to sound, they make a really short, high-pitched sound that goes traveling up the spectrum of sound. So it's a very sharp and high-pitched sound that goes from low to high very, very quickly. And that's what a fast radio burst, quote-unquote, sounds like, even though it's just a tiny little light pulse that lasts a few milliseconds. So I'm glad that you asked that question, because that's really kind of an important question to understand. So thank you, Lee, for that question. And I'm glad that closed captioning can provide you with the answer. So that's pretty cool. Okay, let me bring this down. All right, and see that just as I do that, we have a little break coming. Come on, come on. It's like we're looking at a black and white photograph that's sort of like sliding up the screen. It's really kind of cool. Lee, did that answer your question? Yes, okay. You can detect the pressure of the airwaves, but the conversion to sound is where the problem is. So you can tell that if someone beats a drum very loudly near you and it's behind you, you'll feel the pressure of the drum because it affects your eardrum, but your eardrum can't convert the sound, and then the brain can't convert the sound. If I understand you correctly. 6 years ago, I wasn't deaf, but I was totally blind. I couldn't see, and I was a quadriplegic, and that was the result of a surgery that went bad. And so in that time, my hearing became super hearing. It was extremely powerful. It was actually, everything was way too loud. Then I worked on getting my eyes back. The doctors didn't think I could, but I fixed my brain, I guess, is a way to put it. And when I did that, I got my vision back, and then I had to teach myself how to walk and talk all over again. Because 3 months after this happened, I had a talk to do all the way across the country, and I had to do it. So I healed my head. I made it work so that I could do this talk. And they thought it was going to take 2 years to recover, but I did it in less than a month. But that's how powerful our brains are, you see. And but I noticed that when my sight was gone, my hearing was super sense. It was very, very powerful. And when my sight started coming back, they balanced. It was really interesting. I never lost smell, and I don't know about taste because I had tubes going everywhere. I couldn't, Oh, that's beautiful. Hello, Measure 11. Yeah, we're getting glimpses. But so the thing that happened to me was that I got a much better sense of how the human mind works and how the brain heals and fixes itself. And I also discovered that, having been in that position, that people that had, if they call them disabilities, I would never talk to people like that when I got on an elevator, for instance, because I felt like, ooh, I shouldn't bother them or whatever. Now, after having been in that position as I was, I talk to them, I say hi and ask them how their day is, and I actually carry on a conversation. So I'm not afraid of that, and I think it's very interesting. And for you to come here, when you're deaf, means that you're getting something out of this. And I highly admire you for pushing forward. So, my compliments to you, Lee.
Was that a satellite we had go
That
through the
was.
field a second ago?
That was. And that frame got saved too.
Fast mover.
It was very fast. This was a 2-second exposure here. You know, Lee, I don't think anybody here would understand what that means, but I do. Lee says, my eyes are my ears and hearing aids too. I actually get that. I totally get that. I'm into another all sky view here, guys. Just to see if we have any chance of a break. Because as you can see, that looks like no chance of a break, but that was a few minutes ago. Let's do one more. And see what we got. Oh, you know what? This is also something for you, Lee. When I couldn't see, we do have some clearing coming. When I couldn't see, Lee, one of the things that happened especially was that when I closed my eyes, I could actually see. And I actually moved around and walked around. Once I taught myself how to walk and stuff, I could actually move around and see in the dark. And that's still here. I still have it. I've got back to about 98%, but when I close my eyes, I can see through my eyelids. It's really, really strange. Maybe that's a switch that gets flicked on. I think that the study of the human brain is something that just is in its infancy. You know?
Sound like Daredevil.
Yeah, I mean, that's funny because when I actually, and there's actually Facebook groups that say seeing while blindfolded is one of them, you know. Mm-hmm. And I joined that because I can see. I mean, I've navigated, stepped over cords on the floor in the middle of the night because I knew they were there. I could see them in my eyes. I kept them closed because it was easier, you know. I'm sure this clear spot looks like there's more clouds behind it.
Sucker hole.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Vera, it is. Life is miraculous. You know, I'm amazed that I'm still here, to be honest with you. And I'm glad I am, because I get to share all this stuff with you, and I get so much out of this, you have no idea. And you're getting it from someone who has a true appreciation for life. So you'll never get me trying to, you know, do anything to anybody that's you know, wicked or evil. I wouldn't do that, you know, because heck, you know, I was in a position where I was very vulnerable, and everybody took really good care of me, and that's something that you just can't ever forget. You just can't forget that. And that tells me that everybody that has some kind of disability, you know, I remember walking down the hallway on a walker because I had been teaching myself how to walk again. And I was feeling really bad about myself. You know, what happened to me? Why did this have to happen to me? That kind of whole thing. And a little kid who was in a wheelchair that actually had to breathe for him. He had the tube, and it was the wheelchair itself had a battery that was helping him breathe because he could not breathe on his own. Traumatic spinal cord injury. He'll be in that chair for the rest of his natural life, however short it was going to be. And as I struggled to walk by, feeling bad for my old self, he looks up, he waits for a breath to come into the chair, and he says, "Keep up the good work, you're doing great." It was right then and there that I knew there was absolutely nothing wrong with me, and who was I to start feeling sorry for myself? You know, that was a huge change, massive change for me. It's like a switch went off. Said, "What the heck are you doing?" You know, get better and get out there and help people. You know, and since then, actually, there was a person in the Midwest who had a similar problem, and his hands weren't working anymore, and I shared with them how I healed my hands. It's a technique that I talk about openly, and I don't charge for it. You know, it's just life. You know, I taught him how to heal, and he got his doctor's practice back because he got his hands back. You know, and so there's a lot of strange things out there. A lot of people that are they don't think they can get past their disability. Some people's disabilities are permanent, like this poor guy in the chair that I just think the world of. But you know what? Some of them are not, and for those that aren't, even the surgeon that did the operation on me said that he felt that I had used spare parts that many people don't know they have. And I say that many people don't know they have because I'm not special. I was desperate to survive. I was desperate to continue because I wanted to get out and talk at my conference in Los Angeles from Connecticut. And so that was my goal, and I set that as my goal, and I decided I was going to be all better. And the doctors told me that I was literally crazy for thinking I was going to be okay in such a short time. And when I left that hospital, that rehab hospital, walking and able to see again, but not like perfect. Everything, you know, had to take some time. I had to take a month of rehab after that, or just working at home. They basically told me that they had no belief that I could do that. And I said, it's not just me. Okay, I just decided I was going to get in touch with my brain and fix what was wrong. That's all. You know, and I again, to this day, I don't think it's not me. Okay, it's all of us. We all can do this. Every one of us has this capability in us to fix what might be wrong. You know, some things cannot be fixed. If you cut off your arm, you're not going to grow another arm. It just isn't going to happen. We're not salamanders. Although, there is research into that, too, to figure out how we can do that. Okay? Because they do have the ability to regrow a limb. And that's really interesting. If we can do that, oh.
You know, keep your fingers crossed. Looks like the clouds may be lifting south of you.
I know. I saw the. If you saw the all sky here, Well, you mean north of me?
Well, no, Buckeyes to the south, isn't it?
Yeah, southwest, I think. These are what you're talking about, right? I'm gonna do another one anyway.
Well, it looks like they're lifting from south to north.
Okay. Well, south is at the top of this screen. This is the all sky. The south is up here.
I understand.
And north is here, and east is here. That's interesting because these clouds, this gap seems to be opening, but these clouds don't seem to be getting any closer. All right,
I'm watching on windy.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you see where we are? You have the, I gave you the coordinates. But I can't give those out publicly at this point because it is protected land.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, I see what you're saying. That's strange. Okay. Definitely got us some clouds. Hey Lee, good night. You have a really good night. Thank you for coming along. It's been really, really nice having you here with us. Yeah. Hello, Clarence Shirley. If the cloud's clear, I'm going to point to something in the clearing to show you some really cool stuff when we can. Right now, we're just pointing a little bit up. If you look at our view over here, right above me here, you'll see the telescope. Hang on. Okay. There you go. The telescope's pointing up, looking straight up. Not straight up, but it's looking up. And it's pretty high up in the Milky Way right now. And that corresponds to a location where we do still have some clouds. And it's kind of right around here or so. This is the west side, this is the east side. That's south, and north is down here. So we're kind of looking at some of the gaps in the clouds here when we look at the screen here. But
may I ask a question?
You are always welcome to ask questions.
Why do you have your orientation set that way on your all-sky camera?
Because that's the way I put it in, and I mean, I can invert this and do all of this. I can flip it around and stuff, but I didn't want to monkey around in case, I needed to do other things. When I installed it, I had a tick mark on it, and I said I'm going to line that right up with the south. It turned out that the tick mark was on the north, so I lined it up the wrong way. It's exactly 180 degrees away from what I want.
Oh, I was going to say, I still use Heavens Above a lot.
Yeah.
And the planispheric view it has, they put north at the top, of course, and between this and your observatory views and stuff, we're trying to maintain an orientation gets kind of hard for me sometimes.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I'll do another 20-second shot here. See, the clouds, we only can see the clouds because the moon is out. If the moon wasn't out, the clouds would be, where we're looking now, they'd be very, very darker against the sky. We're getting an interesting opening there. But that is, it's up to like the northeast or something. That is the northeast up there. Interesting. It's clear in the northeast. I've also noticed that the clouds swirl around too. They actually do this cyclonic motion out in Wickenburg and out where the observatory is, and that cyclonic motion, and of course out into Buckeye, that causes sometimes the clouds to swirl around kind of in the vicinity of the observatory. So when you think they're going away, they're not going away. They just stick around and swirl above you. It's like, no, but it's okay. Mm-hmm. There's 300 clear nights a year there, but during monsoon season in August, it's alleviating as we get out of August. Once we get out of August, it'll be better.
Yeah, monsoon usually goes away here right about Labor Day.
Yeah.
Yep. In fact, if you're going, say, the 7th of September?
Yes.
I bet you'll have clear skies.
Yep. Yeah, I'm sure I will. Oh, yeah. Let's do one more. And when the telescope is in this type of seeing conditions, I can't let it do automatic finding of objects because it won't be able to do it.
Yeah.
And then it'll just sit there and start doing a grid search to try and find it, and then I don't want that to happen either. It won't hurt it. The western horizon is southwest is clearing. Southeast is getting clear. Northeast is clear. So this could just be a large, cloudy, nasty mess that we have to let pass. I think I see it. Yeah. Well, the clouds are going from southwest to northeast. So, but that goes against what I'm seeing here. Maybe not. Grrr. Well, you know what? I know what we can do. I know what we can do.
What's that?
I was thinking maybe we come down here. That's 20 degrees up. And right now it's at 20 degrees up. So it's only going to get a little higher before it gets a little lower. Alright. Let's try it. Why not?
Moon?
Yeah. It's really kind of interesting to look at the moon with clouds passing in front of it as well. Okay, so let's say, and I'm gonna have to steer it down toward it. So let's actually drop this guy out, minimize him out of the way. And now you watch the telescope over here, guys. You'll actually watch the telescope moving here in a second. Alright, so we're going to move the telescope down. There it goes. You see it coming down. And the sky is going to get brighter, and we're going to see brighter stars. I'm sorry, not brighter stars, brighter clouds. And then, yep, we're going to see the moon. Then I got to change a few things here. Now we're going to head to the east a little bit, and we'll steer the moon straight on till morning. Yeah. Yes. I know you're there, moon. You know, astronomers don't really like the moon, you know, because it gets in the way of everything.
Unless you're a lunar astronomer.
That's very true. And at one time I was. I mean, effectively. I figured if you can't beat them, join them kind of a thing. So I actually just, you know, I did look at the moon quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. Well, some that specialize in it, I mean, they know the moon like the back of their hand, and they look for transient lunar phenomena, all sorts of stuff.
That's right. That's right.
One of the neatest things I ever saw on the moon.
Yeah.
Just random look one night. We were at a public star party, in fact, with the local astronomy club, and there was a shadow in the middle of a crater.
Yeah.
I don't remember what crater, but there was a peak in the center of the crater, and it was casting a shadow, and it looked just like the bat signal. You know, there's that Batman shape or the bat shape inside the circle of light.
To the Bat Cave, Robin. Holy macaroni, Batman! That's the original Batman.
Mm.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, the moon is definitely hanging out in some thick clouds here.
And one night, I had that giant pair of binoculars I built
Yeah.
looking at the moon, and I literally saw a bat. It was hovering right in front of the moon.
That's so cool.
Looking through the scopes, you could see it.
Bat Daryl.
It was really cool.
That's neat. Bat Daryl. You are a Bat Daryl.
Sometimes, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, we're not. The moon is actually very small on the screen for us. I mean, he put several of them top to bottom here, and even more across. So these are just reflections of the clouds, not moons out of focus or anything. But okay, so this isn't really working, which is too bad. But it's.
Isabella wants to know if we can ask questions while we wait for the clouds.
Of course, you can always ask questions.
Shoot, Isabella.
Yep. Ask anything you like. You're more than welcome. Okay, we're going to head now to the west a little bit. I can't do a plate solve here. Hey there, one man. How are you? Oh, Tara. Thank you. If you're still here, good night, and I will talk to you in the next day or so. Oh, the cosmic rays are high energy rays that come from a variety of sources in the universe, including high energy sources like neutron stars and black holes, and from the very Big Bang itself. And when they strike the retina, they would cause flashes to occur in the astronaut's vision. And the Apollo astronauts on the way to the moon, they had a special device that they wore, and they had to map how the cosmic rays were striking their retinas. And so they were like hoods, and they would map where in the range they'd see these flashes. It was a hood that was all black, so they could not tell where they were looking, and it was really an interesting experiment. We have some darkness here, huh?
Aren't cosmic rays mostly protons?
Well, yeah, they're the cosmic rays are very, very high energy, though.
Yes.
And so they're actually light particles, electromagnetic radiation. So protons are actual particles as opposed to radiation. They're not the same thing.
Martian Johansson asked what first got Daryl and Mark into astronomy. That reminds me, we talked one night, and we had sort of a similar root kind of thing of our interest in astronomy. Remember when I talked about the kids' room in the basement of the of the who is the rich guy that built the libraries?
I don't know. I'm not sure where you're going.
Oh geez, I can't think of his name. He was an industrialist back in the late 1800s.
Okay.
He built libraries all over the country, and I mentioned that that's sort of where I got my start. Was down in the children's library in the basement of the building.
Oh.
And you remarked on it. You talked like you remembered something similar.
I did. Yeah, I used to go.
God help me, I can't think of
the guy's name.
Jeez. Huh?
Yeah, I can't think of the guy's name, but I know what you're talking about. He was like a philanthropist.
Yes.
Name a philanthropist and we'll know. Chat. Name a philanthropist, someone who gave away lots of money to people. We'll know. We'll know which one it is. You're not talking about Getty, are you?
No. Carnegie.
Carnegie, right.
Thank you, Laura. Yeah, the Carnegie Libraries.
Thank you, Laura. That's right.
The Carnegie Library back home, it was north of downtown, and once we learned to read, older sisters and brothers started taking us to the library sometimes and turned us loose, and once we discovered the library, there was no stopping us.
That's right.
Down in the basement was the kids' library, and I grabbed a big book of science, and it had dinosaurs in it, dinosaur bones, and astronomy and telescopes, and you name it. And I was just totally captivated, and that's where I got my start.
Yeah. And me, I had a surgery when I was 9, and when I got out of the hospital, I couldn't do anything, so my parents bought me a telescope. And so I sat outside with a telescope looking up in the sky. And then I wanted to learn more about astronomy, so when I was recovering, I would ride my bike down to the library in the center of town. And I'd go down in the basement of the library to the kids section, because that's where it was. And I took out all the books of astronomy that were there. And I ended up knowing them all cold. And so I went to the upstairs section, to the adult section, and I started taking out adult books in astronomy. And the librarians were saying, "Oh, Marky, are you sure you can read those, Marky?" And I went, yeah, I can read these. And of course, for some of them I could, some of them I couldn't. I mean, I could read, but I couldn't understand. And it was really, really amazing. Because in the basement of the library, there was a little museum. And you go in there and it would smell like there was water that had leaked in. It's that musty smell. And there was a bird egg collection. And I just was marveling at the bird eggs. Then they had a full-size buffalo in there. A stuffed buffalo. And then, hi, Roni. And then they had a second room that had all these other things in it, and it was just like a storage room that had been turned into like a little mini museum in the library, and it was just amazing. And I remember sometimes I'd go down to the library and I'd go into the room and it was locked and closed. I was like, oh man. And I would ask the librarian, can I go to the library and into the museum? Oh no, I'm sorry, Marky, it's closed today. Oh man. And so, but it was the same thing over and over. They never changed it, so it was kind of funny. But it was really good, and it was formative for me. I started learning all about science back then. I took out many of the books. Many books actually.
Oh yeah. Once.
Well, all the books actually.
Once my twin brother and I learned to read, there was no stopping us.
Yeah.
The library and older brothers and sisters had a little library built in the closet of the back bedroom at our home.
Wow.
And we discovered that thing and we just went to town. I may have told this story before, but one of the books I found that just endlessly fascinated me was a book on mythology, Greek mythology.
Okay.
And it had these really lurid engraving illustrations by a guy, I never can keep his name straight. It's either Savage Steel or Steel Savage was the guy.
Okay.
And the cover of the book had a pretty interesting image of Perseus holding the head of Medusa, the Gorgon, you know.
Yeah, sure.
And the book just totally blew me away. And I never forgot it. And here, years and years ago, I was at a yard sale one day, poking through books and stuff, and my God, that book jumped out at me. And it was falling apart, but I picked it up and I bought it on the spot and took it home and read through the thing cover to cover. And I still have it on the headboard of my bed to this day.
Wow. Yeah, I have a...
Absolutely love that book.
Yeah. I have a book called Astronomy and Telescopes, and it actually came with the telescope that my parents bought me. And I kept that book for years until the binding fell apart, and I used tape to hold the pages in. And I still have that book here somewhere, actually. And it was very interesting. I learned a lot about basic objects, basic things in astronomy with that book. And, then, of course, I got into more advanced books. Then I got into, wanting to do experiments with the sky. What can I do to experiment with the sky? And that was just pretty cool. Satisfying Animations, how are you? Welcome to SkyTour LiveStream. We have clouds, as you can see in the screen. This is the all sky. And we're going to be seeing what the latest view is here in just 3 seconds. 1 second. Oh, okay.
I wish I could share the pictures with you. His name is Steel Savage. I'll put up the Wikipedia link. Or let me see if I could try the... I'm going to try the Google Images page. It may be a real long address, though, but I'm going to try to post it.
Isabella, thank you so very much.
Isabella.
Very, very kind.
That is the link to the Google Images for Steel Savage's work. And he just did such cool illustrations that I have never forgotten them. And I have that book now, so I can remember them all over again.
Nice.
He had a very distinct, unique style.
Isabella, your donation, Isabella. If we have to close down because of these clouds, I hope you won't take it personally. That's very, very kind of you, and we will definitely be looking at better things here coming up in the near future as the clouds start going away. And it may not be tonight; it might be tomorrow. Satisfying Animations. I'll call you SA. SA. We are in the northern hemisphere, and the observatory is being used remotely. It's out in the Arizona desert. I myself am in Connecticut. Over here on the left side, okay, right over my head here, that's the observatory with the telescope in it right now. And it's looking a little bit toward the west. West is on this side, east is on that side, north is back over its shoulder back there, and east is toward the camera. And the way this all works is that this up here is the telescope. Telescope controls are right here up in the top place up here. This is actually the control system here, and when we control it, we control it from up there. Okay, and then we see the telescope there. This is the live field. We can actually do live stacking of our images from here. Finally getting to see that globular cluster that I steered us to a little while ago. And
I found the book.
You did?
Yeah, I just posted a link to it.
Wow, very cool.
Mythology by Edith Hamilton, and it's got
okay.
Perseus holding a sword and holding the Medusa's head.
Wow.
On the cover, and the book just tripped me out when I was a kid, and I saw this at the yard sale, and I had flashbacks when I saw that.
Wow.
So I just had to buy it again. Published in 1942.
Wow.
Cool.
You know, back then, our impressions of the universe were so very different. You know, I have this book here. This is a first edition of the book Views of the Architecture of the Heavens in a Series of Letters to a Lady, published during the Civil War, and it has star maps in it that are just so incredible. Thank you, Martian. Wow. Well, thank you. That's very, very true. Discussions are sometimes very important. Thank you so much. So this is like a star map inside the book. I know you can't really see it, but you can buy the book online. I bought it online as well, but you don't get the star maps. You don't get any of that, but you do get the conversations that he's trying to portray. Because back in the 1800s, astronomy and astrology were still kind of considered one and the same in a way, but they're not. But they actually they were close enough that astronomers would sometimes get their points across by using very flowery language, and that flowery language was language that would basically get past the people of the time that would look at astronomy as sort of a quack science. So there were people like that, you know. We now know that astronomy is the rigorous science that's going to allow us to leave this planet once the sun dies, you know, and astrophysics, of course. But it was something that we didn't know back then. So reading the book, it's actually hard to read it because the sentences are very, very long, kind of like Shakespearean, and they are very flowery, you know. And another issue, you know. So it's pretty interesting to read and listen to it, especially if you have a copy of the book that you got from, say, Amazon as a digital copy. Like I bought that as well, and when you listen to it, you have it like speak the words. It's funny that, you know, the system gets all screwed up trying to say it. So it's just pretty crazy, you know.
You know, that reminds me of you talk about the flowery language, the way people wrote and evidently thought back then.
Yes.
If you ever saw the Civil War documentary by what's his face, Burns on PBS.
Yes.
The letter that the guy wrote to his wife. He was a soldier in the Civil War, and he wrote this letter to her, and he never lived to make it back home. And it was just such a touching letter, and the prose in it was just amazing.
Yeah.
And that's the way they did back then.
Well, some of the people that wrote those letters were actually very learned people, you know, because it was a civil war, so everybody fought. It wasn't, you know, just soldiers who joined an army. There was no such thing. Everybody fought. Everybody in the town.
Oh, yeah.
Fighting for the survival of your town, you know. But then it's just, like, pretty crazy stuff, you know. Now, let me give you an example. Here's a sentence. Now, if a nebulous fluid is diffused through the planetary spaces, every body which moves through it must experience resistance and be retarded as we are by the atmosphere when riding at a rapid pace. Semicolon. And we would thus expect to trace the ether's existence in the fact of the planetary orbits gradually drawing in and the revolving bodies approaching the sun. Now, if you didn't understand that, you're forgiven, because there's a lot being stated in that. My book's falling apart, by the way, so I have to stack it rather than close it. Really cool stuff.
I'm going to post a link to the letter. It was the last letter of Major Sullivan Ballou to his dear wife, my very dear wife.
Okay. Oh, Vera Lucia, you got the book. Thank you. How do you like it? That's a loaded question, I dare ask. Tell me how you like it, Vera. I'd like to know. Well, it looks like we're getting some clearing, but boy, oh boy, it's sort of riding on the edge. So we just turn the music up. Yeah, I know. It's just it's crazy. Vera says geek. Who is that, me or is that you? Are you asking?
What's that?
Vera says geek.
I'm sorry?
I said Vera Lucia says geek with a question mark, so I'm wondering what she was talking about.
Oh.
Well, I'm a geek. I mean, obviously, you know. Ah, yes. I have to remake these, but these are the playing cards that we got. Let me actually let me make it a little easier. Well, let's see how I make this easier. Here's how I make it easier. We'll do this. Okay. Here's the playing cards. Okay, they have it's a SkyTour LiveStream. Right, and I know that's backwards for you, but on the other face, like you see the card and the suit, and you actually have an object. Okay, like the 10 of diamonds here, it says NGC 2359, Thor's helmet. And there's Thor's helmet. We took all these pictures that we have on here were all taken with the telescope. Our SkyTour LiveStream East. This is the East telescope. That's the one with the dome that you see. And the west one is the one that's actually the square building. And I'm going to get more cards made. I just have to consider that I'm going to be making them with some of these images that we're taking now. Okay, that telescope that you see back there, that's another 10-inch telescope with a 5-inch refractor mounted to it. And that's going to go in the SkyTour LiveStream East out here and be used. I'm just getting it outfitted now. And once we build the building, we're going to actually put it out here, and that'll be the rest of the remote, because we had a building here, but we sold the dome here because we outgrew it. The dome wasn't working well enough, and as a remote facility, it wasn't going to work. So I bought these actuators, linear actuators, and I'm going to be able to use that to take the building's roof and just literally take it right off like this and put it down on the side, then put it right back up on top using these arms that extend, kind of like the door closers that you have that close your door, you know, that little hydraulic looking thing. But just imagine those having a motor attached to them to drive that arm out and pull the arm back in. That's what a linear actuator is. Fancy term for a very simple thing. And those are going to be the next observatory here. And so we'll have that telescope that you saw back there back in and doing everything. Right now, satisfying or essay, I'm actually just trying to wait for the clouds. You know, there's a globular cluster here, and the globular cluster that I'm near, which you can't really see, it's down here. You see it in a minute when we get a clear spot, but the globular cluster is this one right here. It's NGC 6356, and it's just one we're trying to image, but unfortunately with the clouds it makes it really hard. Yeah.
I missed Isabella's donation. I was scrolling back up.
Yeah, I thanked her. You were mentioning something. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we have great people, that join us, and like I said, we can talk about astronomy and we can talk about getting into astronomy. And Martian, you're right. The conversations are very important, and our conversations don't usually stray from astronomy, but I do talk about some of the less or say more comical things that people would think, but for me, less memorable moments in astronomy for me, and that's another one that I think is kind of important. And again, while we're waiting for potential clouds to clear, I used to work in a parallax program or in a big observatory. The telescope was well over 35 feet long, and the dome was so big that and the telescope so big that the whole floor moved up and down to meet the telescope. The floor was a giant elevator, and the telescope was an Alvin Clark refractor built in the 1800s, and unparalleled image quality. Unparalleled. It was absolutely stunning. So I was using it one night, and it was very, very cold. But before we do that, I'm just going to point out where the globular cluster is here. There it is right there. All right. If we get a clearing that's long enough, we'll stack on it and you can actually see it. And so I was doing a study of some stars, and I raised the floor up. And as I raised the floor up to meet the telescope, I noticed that the elevator was having trouble moving. And I thought, oh no, I'm standing on this thing and I'm literally 2 stories above the basement on this big giant platform. If it fell, it was going to go, ah, and I'd be on it. And all the equipment on the floor and everything would go crashing into this sub-basement in the observatory. So I got a little nervous, but I kept turning this handle to run the floor up. No, I go, and the whole floor would go, okay, and little by little it was moving. And then, and the lights are all off because you don't want to ruin your night vision, right? I had a red light on the console for the telescope control system, but then it was on wheels, so I rotated it around so the red light could kind of play out into the observatory where I could see what's going on out there. And to my horror, my absolute horror, I found that the telescope, which has a big axis with what are called these big setting circles on it, okay, the main axis of the telescope hit one of these safety bars, which was a 2-inch diameter steel pipe, okay, a steel pipe railing, and it was in the process of bending it. Okay, so much pressure was being put on it. It bent it, and the telescope was not budging an inch. The view hadn't changed a bit. Okay, that's how heavy the telescope is. But it bent this pole like it was like rubber. And I dropped the floor down, and when it came off, you could hear the elevator start to work right. It'd go nice and gentle. I was like, whoa. And I turned on the main lights because I was totally scared that I was going to be in big trouble for this. I noticed that the bar got bent. I noticed the telescope had not been damaged in the slightest. And in the morning, I went into the observatory director and I said to him, yeah, Art, I had a little accident in the observatory last night. And he goes, did you bend that pipe? And I'm like, yes, I bent the pipe. And he goes, Mr. D'Antonio, you have to be more careful in there. I go, I know. It was cold, it's February in there. It was like 21 degrees, and it's very still air in there, very, very cold, and I couldn't see very well. So he forgave me for that, and so I wasn't in trouble, and I was continuing on my parallax program. But then I was using the other telescope. We had a 24-inch diameter Schmidt-Cassegrain telescope, a big, beautiful Schmidt-Cassegrain. And that one, again, in another dome, I'm using that one, and I'm photographing for my own self, for my own personal desire. I was photographing a galaxy. Back then, I didn't have the benefit of cameras like this, where a 2-second exposure grants you the darkest sky objects in the world, that are hard to see. No. We had to expose for, in this particular case, I was doing M82, the Starburst Galaxy. It's been previously called the Exploding Galaxy.
Cigar Galaxy, too.
Cigar, Bode's nebula. Well, anyway, I was on a ladder up to the telescope's eyepiece, way up there, okay? And I'm looking through a tiny eyepiece that has a reticle in it, okay? And all I'm focusing on is this one little star. And this one little star I have to keep in the edge of the reticle. And that's called guiding. You have to move the telescope imperceptibly just enough to keep that star right at that corner. It's manual guiding. So I was manually guiding on this galaxy for an hour and 45 minutes. And I heard little popping noises as the night was wearing on, as the time was wearing on, and I didn't pay too much attention to it because, it was cold. It was, again, this time it was like 15 degrees. And I was wrapped up in a jacket at the top of the ladder, and the cold of the ladder was actually getting through the jacket over time. I was sitting there still for so long. And I had to trade eyes because, you look at it in too long for, if you look at the eyepiece for too long, you actually go, not blind, but you actually stop seeing properly. So you have to trade off eyes and make sure that you keep your head in the same position as you do it, so you don't change the position of the star relative to the reticle. It's complicated. Well, anyway, I'm looking at that thing, and I'm getting this thing lined up, and I'm saying, oh, that looks good. This is going to be such a great photograph. Meanwhile, I'm hearing all this little noise. At first, I thought, it must be a raccoon around the building, Then I thought, no, wait, what is that? It's coming from down below. So, again, the lights are all off. I don't even have a red light on because this dome was a little bit smaller than the other one. I didn't want to take the chance. But I'm way up high in the ladder, up at the eyepiece of the telescope. Had a very, very big multi-ton mount that it was sitting on. And as I'm sitting there, I go to move my arm, and I feel something blocking my arm. And I reach over, and I feel the ladder. But now I'm still looking through the eyepiece. I'm still guiding. But I feel the ladder. But the ladder feels like it's like too close to me. And I'm thinking, did I slip out? Did I slide down over on the ladder, on the seat in the top of the ladder a little bit? Because it was one of those step ladders, okay, that had steps, right? But a very, very tall one. And so I ended up finishing the exposure. And then I turn on the switch on my hand controller to turn on the white lights in the building. And that's when I saw it. It was the most frightening thing I've seen in a while. The ladder edge was up against the dome. Okay? Because what happens is that over time the telescope moves. It actually rotates. It's following the stars. So it's gradually moving to the west. That means the eyepiece down at the bottom end of this telescope, which is where it is also gradually moving to the west. So as the telescope's turning, this eyepiece down here is moving a little to the left, to the west. And I'm looking through that eyepiece. So as time moves on, I have to kind of move the ladder over and kind of follow it. Well, at one point, the ladder stopped moving because it was up against the wall of the dome, right? Because that's how far over it had gone. And I didn't notice that. What I also didn't notice was that part of the telescope was on the other side of the ladder and hitting the steel handle, the climbing handles. Because it was arched handles that go down. You walk up the stairs and you sit on the very top of this ladder. I found that the telescope ladder was being bent around like this. It was being bent. So the ladder's usually, the rails go down like this, but the rails are being bent like this on one side. And guess who's in the middle of it? Me, up here. So the whole ladder was being bent around me and sealing me in. And when I turned on the white lights, I noticed that I was literally pinned inside the telescope ladder at the top of this big ladder. Okay. And the ladder was starting to be precarious. It started to feel out of balance. And I was just thinking, oh my gosh, the whole ladder's going to topple over. I'm going to crash into all this equipment. I'll probably die and be found in the morning as a frozen corpsicle. Because it was 15 degrees, like I said. Really, really cool night. Really cool night. Chilly, cold, right? Well, anyway, the ladder bent around me, and I literally had this big giant jacket on, so it was like sealing me in like literally a human popsicle. And the only way I could get out was by squeezing my hands and literally slipping out of my coat, which stayed in the ladder up top. And so I was just down with a sweatshirt and a shirt on, and my pants, of course, my winter pants. And I slipped out of the ladder and fell down to the observatory floor. And looked up, and there was my coat up there. And I had to climb back up and try to get it out. But it was bent in with the metal, and I had to pull the metal to get my coat out. It was crazy. So the lesson there to learn is that you don't put me in front of any telescopes. Well, anyway.
I agree. There was a guy years ago, was down in Texas, McDonald Observatory, I think. He got killed by the dome of the telescope. The dome or the building rotated. There was a door, and I don't remember the particulars of it, but he got caught in the door as the dome rotated, and it crushed him to death.
Yeah, we actually had that problem at the observatory. Nobody died. Oh, look at this. Look at that. We've got sky. We haven't had that problem. We didn't have that problem there. What we did have, though, happen was that in the big dome, you could lose your orientation because it was several stories down into the sub-basement where there was just all kinds of steel and machinery. And unfortunately, it was very much a situation where we were not sure, weren't sure just how bad, the situation was when it was precarious. Like, give you an example. I know I'm not really saying that right. Let me just go back to this because I'm trying to do two things at once. Okay, I see Vega's in the clear. Let's go take a look, and let's take the telescope up to Vega. Alright, so here is our telescope here. You can watch the telescope. Okay, and then here. Alright, let's go up to Vega. When you raise the floor up in the big telescope, you really actually had to be careful because you really had no way to know just how high the floor was because there wasn't any marker. You had a safety rail, and sometimes you could be a full 2 stories above the exit bridge to leave the dome. And that was kind of scary, That was kind of scary. Okay, we're going up to Vega.
I have never got to look through an Alvin Clark refractor.
Oh, it's not.
I've never seen one. They have a 20-inch Clark refractor up at the. There's an observatory at the University of Denver, I think, and they even have public nights on it occasionally. I'd love to go out and see that sometime.
Yeah, not to be missed.
Yeah. Refractors, folks, are what people think of when they think of telescopes. A lot of people, it's a lens at the front end and the eyepieces at the back end, or the instrumentation or whatever, long skinny tube. But this was in the 1800s before they started building big reflectors.
Yes.
Mostly. And this guy named Alvin Clark and Sons, they built fantastic, huge, long, high F ratio refractor telescopes, big brass tubes, and huge lenses. Yeah. The one in Denver is 20-incher, if I remember right. I want to say the biggest one they built was Oh, gee. What am I thinking of? York Observatory? It's like a 39 or 40-inch
Okay.
lens,
Yeah.
something like that. And the craftsmanship on these things is just exquisite.
It is. It
They
is.
don't build them like that anymore.
Yeah. Okay, this is Vega right here. All right, and if we go to our planetarium shot right here, you can actually see telescope control shows us that we're sitting up here looking at Vega. And while we're here, I am going to take us. Oh, look at the elephant's trunk. Oh my God. The moon is out though. Should we try it? I don't know if we can. I don't know if it's in the clear though. I mean, I see some clouds coming across Vega right here. Oh my God. Yes, that is definitely a target for very soon, I can tell you that. Yeah. Let's actually see if we can. Let's go down and do our best to get to Measure 57, shall we?
Sure.
This is the Ring Nebula that we're going to try and bring up. Okay. Why is it not coming up with this? Let's go. Oh, duh. I wasn't on that. Okay. So when we look at the constellations here, we want to go to a spot right in here. And while we're here, if we can do it, we're going to check these out. But first, let's go down. Actually, let's just go to it. Or just take ourselves to it. Okay, let's go here. And we'll go here. Alright, so now I can go a little bit more.
Martian asks,
Yeah.
is that a spider's thread in the
Yes.
telescope?
Yes, very good, Marlon. That's exactly what it is. It's sitting in front of the cam. It's sitting in front of the cam there, and unfortunately,
Pardon me.
I can't take it out because I'm 2,500 miles away from it at the moment. So we're unable to get it out of there at the moment. All right, let's see. Let's bring this down here.
Whoops. Yeah, you're going to the ring.
Yeah, I am.
If you go look over at APOD, they've had some really deep exposures of the Ring Nebula the last couple of nights.
Yeah, and if we can do any like that, you'll see some just stunning additional detail, more than just a ring. And there it is, right there.
Mm-hmm.
So let's. The ring is beautiful. It's a planetary nebula. Alright, there we go. And now we're gonna go back to a smaller amount of movement so we can bring ourselves up. That's beautiful. Look at the colors showing up already. Okay, and then just bring it over a little more. Let's see if we can get away with doing a deep exposure of the ring right now. Okay, this is great. And while we're here, let's do a plate solve so we can actually confirm our... I'll tell you what that all is. That's the star patterns are being used to determine our location. Just the star patterns. And it's good to do this from time to time. And the line up here should end up being green, saying it found it. And I don't... There it is. That was quick. So it found, just by the pattern of stars, it found exactly where we are in the sky. And that's very important. I can't believe we're actually getting some astronomy tonight. Oh, guys, thank you for hanging in. Okay, this was only a 2-second exposure. Let's actually go to a 12-second exposure. I know the moon's out, but I'm using a special filter to help prevent... We'll see a little blue, but let's find out. So here's a 12-second exposure. And if this works, we'll do a live stack and see if we can catch some of the additional nebulousness around the ring. Okay, let's actually also, it's beautiful, isn't it? Okay, let's go to, let me say 40%. Okay. All right. Now we're going to do a live stack. And now it's doing, as we speak, it's doing exposures. And so there's the first. And what I'm going to do is get rid of, because we know it's up there, let's actually go maximize on the whole size of this. And don't worry about those colors. We're going to get rid of those in just a second. Alright, and then I'm going to come back to my camera control and undo any processing that was done here. Okay, and let's do some processing, and that might not give us what we want. Yeah, it does not. That's too much. But that gives us an idea of whether we actually are getting the additional detail that we want to find here. Is there a galaxy here too? I mean, that's not the size of the field. The size of the field is actually... let me pin this so that it'll disappear. That's the size of the field. Actually, the field's a little bigger. Okay, because we're actually... So I'll put it here. Now we go back to the live stack. I'm very excited. This is cool. And let's now see if this gives us... That's too much. Oh, this one here. Yeah, and if I do a color match, that's a little better. And now I want to take this down here. This is called the histogram. This is the data. You see red, you see green and blue, RGB, right? And that white line represents the blend. And these are control bars you can actually move around and manage the brightness of the system here. But because we have a 1 second delay because of this crazy setup, it makes it kind of hard to do this. So once you catch it and move it, it takes a while to catch up. But let's go in and really push to see if we can see anything out there. No, not yet. Again, it could be subtle, but we were going to have to probably do that in post-processing. But it is beautiful, isn't it? And of course, the ring is overexposed. That's right, Martian. stars are a little yellow. I have to. It's not quite correct. If I undo what I just did there, I just dropped the blue a little. All right, I'm just doing a couple of things here. I'm just trying to adjust the colors, guys, in the background here, and trying to see. Okay, we've stacked 20 frames so far, and let's just see. This will probably be too much, but I want to see if it shows us any of the subtle details back here. This is sort of a push process, and we can undo it and get back to what we were, which is not quite that. Okay.
The APOD image, the last one they had up, I think it was yesterday's,
Yeah.
the day before, it shows extremely faint detail way out away from the center ring.
Yeah, there's like this red outer shell.
Yes.
You know,
It's really
and
tremendous picture.
I think we'll be able to see it once we get rid of the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I remember right, the image may have been multi-wavelength from 3 different telescopes. I'd have to go look it up again. It was the Hubble and a couple of other ones.
Yeah. So that's beautiful. So that's cool. Now I wonder if I could just move over from here and go to a couple.
You know, something that might look cool before you leave Lyra, check out Epsilon Lyrae.
Oh, it's gonna be really tiny though. Don't forget. Remember, we have a 2.5 degree field.
Yeah.
So it's gonna look like one oblong star.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna take us over to solder, which is Gamma Cygni, and this. Well, before I do that, I have to make sure I save our stack here. I always save what we do. So you'll see that these files saved in an astronomical format, which is called FITS. All right, and there are FITS viewers out there. There's free ones you can use. There's one provided by NASA to actually look at FITS files. And let's take a look here. I'll say I saved the FITS file. Now I'm going to save it exactly as seen. And for those that want to see these, the link to this is in the SkyTour LiveStream with Mark D'Antonio Facebook page. You can go get that link. And I know if someone has access to it, please go ahead and post that for everybody. Copy that link down, bookmark it, go there, and you'll see the live shots of this very shot will be there probably within 30 seconds. Alright, so that's really cool. So I'm going to pause this now, and I'm going to clear this and get out of it. And then we're going to go over to we'll stay at 12 seconds. But actually, no, we're going to go back to 1 second here because we want to be able to see exactly where we're going. I'm hoping solder is still clear without clouds. Alright, so now okay, now we're gonna go over and get out of that maximize size. Go now into our planetarium show here, and once we have solder selected, we're now going to say go to solder. Alright, and the telescope's going to move. You'll see it over here moving. There it goes. And we come back, and the first thing the telescope does is it goes to a bright star in the area. But if the star that it's looking for is that bright star, then it shouldn't have a problem going right to that star, but we'll see. And actually, let me get back. Beautiful, colorful stars. I'm going to go to auto here.
Yeah, a very red star in that
It
field,
was,
yeah.
it's still right there.
Huh.
Yep. Yeah, okay. Okay. All right, and we should be centering up here on solder, I believe, and we'll see. All right, telescope is saying that it's not quite on solder, but I've found that sometimes it goes off a little bit. But I believe we're on solder. And let me just pull this out a little bit. This red square is our actual view. It's the view of the telescope. It's what it sees in the exact orientation that you expect to see it. Okay, so if the telescope is here, actually what I can do is come back here, take a look at this, and just say plate solve. I'll plate solve on this location right here, and it'll give us the exact coordinates of the center of the frame. And if they vary from what's over here in our coordinates, then I can put in the new coordinates and center on it right there. But let's just let it finish. I don't know that that looks like it's not. I mean, it could be bright enough to be solder. Yep, it found it. Let me just copy that. Yep. Yeah. Oh, were you ringing? I'm sorry. I'm streaming. I know. Okay. All right. So let's do this. Let's actually come in here. And I'm just going to move the telescope over just in case.
Yeah, I see your pointer there is actually on a star there to the west of solder, it looks like.
Yeah, and if that's really what it is, I'm going to move it over and see. So I'm just going to let's do this 0.25, yeah. Okay, and now I'm going to take us this way a little bit, and let's see if solder comes in. If not, well then, you know.
Mark, I'm sorry. I don't mean to bail on you. I'm yawning my head off, about to fall out of my chair. Will you excuse me for tonight?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I'm glad you got some clear skies.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay. Well,
that is
I'm going to call it a night then. Thanks for coming, everybody, and I hope you get to see some more neat stuff tonight. I'm going to go to bed.
All right.
So have a good night, all, okay?
Very good, Daryl. Thank you.
Okay, Mark, you take care. Good luck.
All right. Thanks, man. We'll see you soon.
Have fun.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Okay. Okay, let's see now. Let's take this from 1 second. Let's go to take this to a 12-second shot again. And go. There's a beautiful red nebulous detail around this star. And you can see it here. All right, and I'm going to move us over just a little bit. That halo is not it. Okay, that halo is not it. That is solder. That's gamma Cygni. And what I'm going to do is take this telescope and move it a little bit more in that direction. So let's just do that. Okay, so wait, I think I went the wrong way. No, that's the right way. Okay, you'll see us in a sec. Okay, I kind of had it where I wanted it before. That's my mistake. Okay, now let's set it up again to do we'll do 20-second exposure. All right, and we're gonna live stack it right off the bat because I kind of know what we're gonna get. Let me clear this. That's the ring nebula. We don't want that. Okay. And there you go. Look at that beautiful nebula. Isn't that incredible? That's the Gamma Cygni Nebula right there. Look at that. Really, really pretty. And we have a moon out, a waxing gibbous moon, which is like 3/4 full. And we still see this detail. That's how beautiful it is out here. Okay, let's see if we can... we've got 2 frames stacked. Let's try and process a little. And there you go. Now, what do you think of that, guys? I would say that that's a very pretty nebula, wouldn't you say, for 20 seconds? Welcome to Arizona. Yeah. Look at this dark cloud. This is a dark cloud of dust that is in front of a bright nebula behind. Here's another one. Okay. And this entire area is a dark cloud of dust that is in front of a bright nebula. This is like a whole tongue of dark dust, you know. So that's like, this is all dark dust in here. This is all dark dust here. Okay. And it's impeding your view of what's behind it. But SA wants me to take a longer exposure. I can do that, and I will. Actually, I'll try that. But one thing to keep in mind is that this is 20 seconds. If I say go to 25 seconds, we'll try that. Okay? And I'm going to go into the stack, and I'm going to clear it. We'll do a 25-second exposure. So we're going to clear the stack and throw it away. Alright, so now it's thrown away. And I come into the camera controls, and we go to the 25-second exposure. And it's taking it now as we speak. So now we'll see that. And then that's actually stacking it too. Okay, so let's process that a little bit. Let me do that again. Process it. Yeah. So there's a 25-second shot. Isn't that crazy? And since we know where we are and what we're doing, I'm going to maximize this here so we can see it all. Pretty, beautiful Gamma Cygni Nebula. Martian, yeah, this dark nebula here, this dark dust, is blocking starlight from behind it. So two things happen. Number one, any light that does get through is reddened, like this star right here. It looks a little bit redder, most likely because it's embedded in dust, and its starlight is penetrating that dust to come out to us here. Okay, and then we have other stars, like up here. You see this little tiny red one right there. Maybe that's embedded in the dust cloud, and so its light is also being reddened by that distance into the dust cloud that it's sitting. That's very possible. And we are stacking how many images so far? Okay, we've done 5 so far, 25 seconds. But this whole process that we're doing here with the observatory, you're literally looking at the result of a successful GoFundMe campaign. I could not afford this type of equipment, nor the building of the building, but a GoFundMe campaign to do outreach astronomy was successful, and this is what you get. You get these beautiful nebulae, and because it was a GoFundMe, I certainly think that it's just a beautiful payback to just show you all these things. Look at this nebula right here. You can see the detail of this dark nebula in here, and you know, it's just gorgeous. Incidentally, we are still stacking, just so you know. Okay, if you watch down here, you're going to see that along this line is telling you what we're doing. Okay, it says we have 7 stacked frames so far. And if we look at the live stack, okay, which blocks some of the view, we have 7 stacked frames. So that little status bar tells us when that 7 changes to an 8, it means there'll be 8. So if you watch there it goes, it just changed. So now we have 8 stacked frames. The more we stack, the better the data gets. And that's kind of what we're doing, is just stacking the data. Now I'm going to do another little process. This does not affect the stack at all. The stack is going to look however it looks. The stack is raw data. This is processed data. The stack does not look like this when you see it. You can't see very much nebulous detail in the stack, but you draw it out by processing it. I'm kind of in the way, aren't I? Let me move up here. Whoa, this is too high. Yeah, beautiful, isn't it? The Gamma Cygni Nebula, gentlemen and ladies. It's just something really pretty. And we are up to 10 stacked images. We'll go to something along the lines of maybe 15, if we can get to 15. Meanwhile, while we're stacking, let's take a look at our sky. Yes, one more time, we'll try that. Okay, and let's acquire one image of our sky again. And while it's acquiring, we will come back here. Just beautiful. All right, while we're doing this, I'm going to see if I can make some changes here. A little more better. Okay. Wow. Ah. Essentially correct, Martian. We're improving the signal to noise ratio. When you look at a picture like this, let's go to 100%. All right, just show you that. Actually, let's go to 200%. Yeah, 200%, nothing looks good. All right. Well, this isn't so bad. But you see in here, you see this weird modeling in here. That's color noise. All right, and that's the result of the camera. This weird looking little round circle above the bright star image, that's called a collimation error. That's the thing I have to correct when I go out there. And then our stars will be actual pinpoints. They'll be stunning. So that noise gets minimized when you stack. Now, it was a lot worse at the beginning. You would have seen almost no nebulous detail. You would have just seen lots of noise. But by doing the stack, you actually minimize a lot of the noise. It's really, really nice. Okay. Okay, let's see where we are with our stack. We are up to 17. That's great. And let's actually go see what our sky looks like. Wow. We got a moon though. That's really pretty. Okay. Okay, we're gonna pause this here with 18 stacked frames. Save it. And we'll see the save across the top, and then we'll save it just as it is. Okay. So in a few minutes, this will be up there for you all to take down and enjoy. This image itself. And then if you want to adjust the colors, you can. Look at this beautiful black cloud that's sort of in front of this dimmer background. These are things that are invisible from anywhere but the darkest skies. It's really pretty. Just amazing. Alright, it is almost 2 a.m. here. I have to be up in 6 hours to do this publicity tour thing. So as much as I want to continue, I'm afraid I just gotta go to bed. I don't want to. The night is becoming very nice. Ugh. Yeah. Well, I promise I will take us back to the North American Nebula and everything else. But I'm glad we got one beautiful object out of it here. So hopefully you guys can look for this. You can look for this up on the site if you want. And I am going to close down for the evening. I just don't want to, but I must. So the camera was running at minus 10 Celsius as well, so that was good. Now I will show you the close down process. Alright, so we close our planetarium. You see the telescope's pointing straight up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to park the telescope. It brings it to a location that is a safe spot to close the roof. And when it does that, I will then close the roof. So I say park. I say, well, first of all, let me actually close down this guy. Disconnect. Thanks, Cypher 2. Yeah, Martian, I have to, because for our show, for the show I did called Alien Invasion Hudson Valley, I have a publicity tour starting tomorrow. I have to be on 13 radio stations between 9 in the morning and noon. It's going to be a long morning. So I have to be up at 8 to be ready. Okay, so this is going to Y. It's going to get Y. Yeah, that's right. Okay, and then now I can park. So you watch the telescope. Watch what happens to it here. So the telescope now is going to move down to the park position. And down here you can see the parking scope slewing. It's going to lower it down to where it's almost horizontal. And then we can close it. Alright, actually let me bring this out to kind of show you better. Alright, so now it's in the park position. If you notice, the handset information down below says scopes parked, turn the scope off. So I can come in here, and this is my control program I wrote here, very simple. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the scope. Okay. And okay, the telescope is disconnected, and I can quit this program here, which I'm doing. Okay, and now what I do is I'm going to turn off the pure power, so turn off power to the telescope. Alright, it's off, and you'll know it's off because the handset is now blank. And then we actually do the final thing, the final piece de resistance is close the lid of the telescope, close the roof from 2,500 miles away. And there it is. There it is. Okay, so now the telescope is basically put to bed for the night, and we can now get out of here. So I want to thank you guys for coming. This is very nice of you to join us here tonight. I look forward to doing another one of these. And fantasy, another YouTuber. Oh yeah, that's right. Bill Skywatcher. That's, and don't forget P&K Space Imaging, Paul and Keith. You know, those guys are great too. But you guys have a good night, okay? I'm gonna head to bed, and I'm going to basically I'm gonna sleep very well, knowing the telescope is just doing some really good stuff. So thank you guys for coming. I will talk to you very soon.